Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Ledger is currently having a 20% off sale on their Ledger Nano S Plus, their Ledger Nano X, as well as the Ledger Nano X Plus Ledger Recover, also with 20% off. While I do not work for Ledger, I am an affiliate, and I have an affiliate link in the description below for those of you who wish to keep your crypto safe. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I'm sure you can feel the excitement in the air. It's been quite palpable for, I want to say, even a number of days at this point. We are at the still where are things going phase within the cryptocurrency market. Over the course of the last 2 weeks or so, I want to say a strong 2 weeks, the speculation has continuously been that Bitcoin is going to pick back up in price. The price predictions for a hefty Bitcoin amount are still there. The gigantic digital elephant in the room, however, is still Ethereum. The launch of the ETFs, the suspicion of what's going to happen to the price, how much money will be flowing into the market, and also subsequently what could or would or might actually also happen to altcoins as well. It is the shining star in the sky. As the last couple of months, prices, at least in my view, did not move as they normally would have moved under any kind of normal circumstance. This now leads us to what can Ethereum do for us? Gemini, the Gemini twins, say that they're expecting spot Ether ETFs to see up to around $5 billion of net inflows in the first 6 months of trading. A lot of people think, and for those of you who have been missing it, the assumption is that Ethereum is probably, no one knowsily, is probably on its way to a 5-figure amount, 5 digits. We had, and this is also similar to the I maybe call it the Bitcoin effect. I don't know what this thing is. Before we had the Bitcoin ETFs, people assumed that by the end of this year, we would probably see a maximum Bitcoin price of around 50,000, with many people also expecting us to just a smidge away from the previous all-time high of $69,000. We already had expectations of Ethereum going between $7,000 to $10,000, mimicking Bitcoin's movements. But as there's a lot more activity constantly on top of Ethereum, people assume that it would lightly outperform Bitcoin in price mathematically over the course of this year. The ETFs have shined a brand new gigantic spotlight on all of that, where we've seen already Bitcoin had tremendous amounts of inflows. The difference here, and I'll try and explain it, is that a lot of people, so how do I even put this into words? The numbers that we saw for inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs were also, and I mean without having to air quote, they were like heavily unprecedented. The issue is that people assumed that Bitcoin might have a couple of $1 million flowing into the ETFs every single day. It ended up surprising a lot of people when those numbers went from 15 million to 45 million to 118 million to 300 million to, I think, the highest that we had was $880 million worth of inflows in one day. A lot of the numbers, and I'm not sure if they're simply just aiming to be more conservative, price-wise than others. A lot of the numbers that I'm seeing are that expectations that Ethereum will maybe have around 1/6, 1/5 of the amount of money flowing into it compared to Bitcoin. That is to say, they think that Bitcoin is far more popular, and therefore people will put money into the ETFs, but we won't see the gigantimous amount of numbers that we saw for Bitcoin. I do think that, so once again, from my vantage point, this is very similar to before the Bitcoin ETFs launched. A lot of the people basically, here we go. A lot of the people basically saying that the Bitcoin ETFs would do okay and not too great were like people who didn't like Bitcoin. If that makes any sense, they would, it'll do fine. Money will flow into it, but it won't be this exceptional thing. It becomes exceptional. Everyone's like, well, of course it was going to be exceptional. Similar thing to when the ETFs for Ether were first being filed. We had, it was mainly Michael Saylor and like one or two other like hyper maximalists who were saying that the ETFs would never get approved. They got approved, they changed their tune, and they were like, no, these are actually great for the industry. And it's like, And now I think we're seeing the same exact thing. And once again, I don't know if it's meant to be less hypey than other things. That is to say, if everyone's talking about 40 billion flowing into the market, and then we only get 12 billion, people will be disappointed. So I don't know if people are simply quoting or saying up to $5 billion basically for the next half of this year as like a, let's see what ends up taking place, because it would only really equate to maybe $20-30 million per day. And I personally think, based off of the news that we've been getting, that we're going to see kind of like a perfect storm of everything coming together. This has nothing to do with the idea of interest rate cuts or what's going to happen at this point or what so and so. I think just based off of actual demand alone for Ether. And if you've been paying attention, and for those of you who have not, in the last month or so, the news that we've been getting has mainly focused around Ethereum whale news. The amount of Ether on exchanges, it's being taken off rapidly. The amount of staked Ether is increasing. I believe it's 1 out of every 4 Ether is now being staked, if not more, since that this news article was from 3 or 4 weeks ago, is now being locked into the platform to be able to make passive income. There's also another huge portion of it that's we're getting like someone bought $110 million worth of Ether in one day, and they're locking all those coins into different protocols or into the staking. So I personally believe we will see something great, but I also exist in a very rose-colored glasses kind of way, where I see news and the logic and the numbers are in front of me, and then the cryptocurrency market has a completely different idea as to where things are going to go. Gemini also says that Ether remains undervalued relative to Bitcoin, and strong inflows into the ETFs could trigger a reversal. Ethereum is the most used blockchain on the planet, and we have for a while, and this is not a year, this is not even 2 years, this is about a good 6 or 7 years that people keep pretending that Ethereum is not the most used chain around us. It has a lot of corporation money. It has a lot of venture capital money. The other chains and things that are being built on top of it. A lot of these things are not happening from normal people. Normal people do not have $100 million to build a layer 2 and a layer 3 solution on top of this thing. Ethereum is incredibly undervalued. And I will say, I think there are many coins relative to their usage, what they do, the amount of, you get it. Their metrics, I think many coins are undervalued. They shall not be named because I don't want to throw any, favor onto any other coins. But Ether, same as Bitcoin, is incredibly low for its price and what it does. And even from a logical standpoint of time, if we reach a $70,000 Bitcoin in 2021, And since then, 3 years later, our metrics are threefold. We're seeing 3 times the amount of people in the market, in the network, people who are buying. You have 11 companies who are holding over 1 million Bitcoin. You cannot argue with me. I understand your charts and your flows and your stocks and your ups and your downs and your Bart Simpsons and your cup and your handles. But from a mathematical standpoint, when the available minted supply gets cut in half, Bitcoin should at least be over $150,000 just based off of pure logic from the metrics from 3 years ago to now. Ethereum is exactly the same. The only thing conceptually that my mind comes up with is the idea that companies are doing what they can to lower prices, negative news, negative this is happening, this is going to take place, you should be scared. And it works extremely well to flush people out of the market. If we're talking about before the ETFs were even a thing, a $7,000 to $10,000 Ether this year, realistically, if we do not hit a $10,000 to $12,000 Ether by December, then dark forces are at work. I don't really know exactly what to put there because this chain is only going to become bigger. This chain is only going to become more popular. More people continue to build on it. This is why we keep seeing these other companies making EVMs. For those of you who missed the last couple of newses, we heard IOTA, Cardano, the people from Ripple, and what's the other one? There's another chain. I don't remember. They're all making Ethereum virtual machine compatible networks, basically meaning that anyone who works with Ether or on Ethereum can also work on their other chains as well. This is done because Ether and Ethereum continue growing. They continue expanding. Other chains are being used, but not as much as Ethereum. And therefore, you make the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, to make your chain compatible with Ether and Ethereum to be able to say, hey, if there are any developers out there who are currently working on Ethereum and you, for some reason, want to work on Cardano, you can also work on our chain now as well. They've all bent the knee in some sort of way, despite years and years and years of people pretending that Ethereum wasn't the second largest chain on the market. Other coins continue to do it now, popping up, acting as if, they're going to usurp Ethereum, and it's not going to be a thing. Yeah, so the expectations are quite high. I think that's even an understatement for what the second half of this year is going to be. I know I mentioned it before. More than half the year is gone. Doesn't that feel really weird? Like, I remember January. I remember some of March and April, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's hot outside already. So, expectations are quite high as to where our market is going to go, tying directly into this news as well. In 2024, Bitcoin saw a notable upward momentum, reaching an unprecedented level of $73,000 in mid-March. This surge signals a recovery phase for Bitcoin despite previous setbacks. Once again, we have someone quite popular in the news as the expectations are once again that prices are about to go completely bananas. Tom Lee, who we haven't heard from, it's been at least half a year. Tom Lee used to be, what's his name? What's the guy? Not Pompliano, I don't remember. Tom Lee was always our price prediction guy within the space for a number of years. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Tom Lee is brother to the guy who made Litecoin. Is that correct? That sounds correct. Anywho, prominent voices in the financial sector, including those like Tom Lee, are now once again predicting that Bitcoin's valuation is going to go to $150,000 by the end of this year. It looks possible. I don't count it out. We did hear around February from a lot of prominent players that we were going, remember July, that in July we'd see a $100,000 to a $150,000 Bitcoin, I think the whales had other things in mind as they slammed the price into the ground repeatedly. And then we kept on also subsequently, daily, getting news of there was there was a $38 million outflow. Oh my gosh. And then all the news would be really sad. Prices would go down. And then we kept on hearing of like whales like buying up 8 times that amount of coins, but the prices never reacted. People are still going for 150K over the course of this year. I will say we should have been there already, but the Barts and the cups and the rainbows and the lines and all these other things are, seemingly working against us. The other discussion right now still, and this should not be a discussion, is what's happening with Mt. Gox. The lingering issues associated with the now defunct Mt. Gox cryptocurrency exchange has been a significant drag on Bitcoin's valuation. Mt. Gox collapsed a decade ago. Around approximately 850,000 Bitcoin were hacked and mismanaged. Having finally seen progress in the bankruptcy proceedings in recent updates, the court-appointed trustee has announced plans to pay back nearly $9 billion worth of Bitcoin, he said. Bitcoin's likely been held back due to the Mt. Gox saga, a huge overhang for many years. With the overhang expected to clear, we might witness a significant rebound in Bitcoin's value in the latter half of the year. There's still a possibility we could see $150,000, end quote. Mt. Gox has been an overhang, but it hasn't been that bad. The problem is that crypto and a lot of people in crypto thrive on negative news. So people will make sure to bring you disastrous, calamitous, as crazy as possible news to get you to fear something. I told you this a number of years ago as well, and I will repeat it. Many times before I entered crypto, when I was in other financial markets and I would read financial news and I would look around for financial news and I would peruse YouTube for financial news, it is quite common for people to have really scary videos. Things are collapsing. Things are, this is going to happen. This is the so-and-so. This guy from this bank said this, we're going to collapse. This is going to happen. And then you look and these people are becoming richer and richer because they're the ones who are buying the stocks. They're buying the companies that are undervalued because everyone kept on selling. So they become the majority shareholder of it. People sell off their homes being told that there's going to be a market collapse and homes are going to do this and homes. I've been seeing it for the last 2 years. You must have seen them as well. The YouTube videos and the other things I'm stretching. Sorry. Oh, my back. Ow, that hurt. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. I did it. Oh, okay. A little bit too much. And basically, people have been talking about housing collapse. And this is going and this is so-and-so. And then housing prices fell, at least from my part of the world, by like 5 to 10%. It was like a slight dip. And then all of a sudden, you start hearing more and more news about these like corporations who are buying homes. And so it's just kind of this. Mt. Gox is very similar to that. Since I've been making videos, 2016, 2017, yearly, there's been a Mt. Gox saga story situation where we hear that the appointee, the trustee who's holding the coins, who has all the invoices or whatever, is going to start paying people back. Bitcoin dips in price. He goes, nope, can't pay back because we still need more paperwork. It's been happening over and over and over. And as I mentioned before, I can't find the articles. These are literally from 2016, 17, and 18. If you can find them, I give you golf clap. Basically, we heard a number of years ago that some of the larger figureheads in our space, the Novogratzes, the Michael Saylors, you name it, have already been in contact with these people. So it's not. This isn't spread across like hundreds of thousands of people who are getting their money back. It's a couple hundred people, I believe. Apparently, the larger holders, like the people who have, like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, they've already apparently been in contact with these like wealthy people in our space who told us years ago that if any of these people are trying to sell, they would basically contact them and say, hey, I need some money. I want to get rid of $400 million. And they and a couple of friends, a couple of investors would get together and they would buy those coins so that they never actually end up hitting the market. So it's been a constant This is you want to know the same exact energy. This is the same exact energy as Ripple doing their unlocking. So every single month, Ripple years ago was basically forced into submission to lock up their coins to prove to humanity that they would not flush all of them onto the market, which made no sense because these people benefit the most from it going to $100. Why would they want to sell at 50 cents? I don't know. People don't make any sense. So they locked all these coins up, and once a month, they get 1 billion coins out, and sometimes it's even less. The point to be made is when they unlock these coins every month, the amount of news articles being like, Ripple's about to dump their coins. Will XRP respond? Ripple's not dumping their coins. They told us as transparently as possible, but people keep looking for fear to push into the market. Anytime that any coins are sold, they're usually sold to companies and corporations and to central banks who want to use them. They even mentioned before, if they have events that they're doing, if they have, like if they're running some kind of a big event, it usually comes from money that the company already has. Their wealth doesn't just lie in XRP. That's how I know that a lot of people who are in the market are brand new. And I say this in the nicest way possible. Like, don't have a lot of money. Once again, nicest way possible. Because it shows so many times that people don't understand how companies work. Ripple's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You think that the only money that they have comes from this monthly unlocking? Like, what are you talking about? It's just so... It's not even abstract. It's just so odd to hear people say a lot of these things. So... In realistic terms, from what we have heard, the giving back of the stolen money will begin sometime in July. If these people decide to sell their coins, it is their given right to do so. It is their money that was stolen from them. We know already that these large companies and these very wealthy individuals have said, if you want to sell your coins, sell them to us. Don't let them go onto the market. And even if these coins did hit the market, we would go down in price, but we would never have this news story to inject fear back into the market again, because it's been such a major thing over a decade at this point, trying to scare people. If you haven't seen the other videos or the other analyses from these other people, from the other analysts, they've all said it's not going to be as crazy as people think. People want everything in this market to be as dramatic and as scary and as awful and as evil and as terrible as possible. And even when we do get transparency, when we do get information and news of what's really going to happen, people skip over that. They wait 2 days and they release some other type of negative information again. So yeah, I'm very excited for this Mt. Gox thing to be like, it's been way too long between this, the lawsuit against Ripple from the SEC, and what's the other thing? I don't even know. I think those are the two biggest things that we've been dealing with for such a very long time right now. So the optimism for Bitcoin has not faded, has not abated. It is still there. It is still extremely strong, at least from people who've been in the market for a while. If you have gone through multiple Bitcoin cycles, there's frustration when you look at prices, but you never really get bullish. This is how you know someone who's been in the market for a while. I'm sure you've seen the memes. It just really is a thing. You'll have some frustrating days when the prices don't act as you expect. All I end up doing is buying more. Like I've been buying so much. Like it's I want to say it's a problem, but we won't get there. Anywho, that's the expectations news, if you will. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in the news is Santander, the multinational banking giant, has recently announced it will start offering cryptocurrency trading services in Brazil. Once again, back in the news. I just threw my headphones and I managed to catch them as I threw okay, wasn't even paying attention. Brazil is basically kind of like the place, as far as we know, to go to for cryptocurrency stuff within Latin America. We hear about the adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender for El Salvador, but 99% of the time, if it's banks entering crypto, if it's companies entering crypto, it's usually in Brazil, in Latin America. A lot of the news, if you watch any of these videos online about like what's happening in El Salvador, it's them mining Bitcoin with thermal energy. They're building these like rich utopian cities that will only be for the rich people who moved to that country and not for the locals. And what's the other thing? I forgot the other. So it's usually not that. Around 2018, 2019, when the entire discussions of cryptocurrency regulations began to appear, we started hearing that a lot of banks wanted to get into the cryptocurrency space as well. I told you nearly all of those discussions went bye-bye in 2020 because the world was collapsing. And I think a lot of banks were far more focused. Like, remember all like the banking collapses we were seeing? So I think they were dealing with completely other things compared to anything that had to do with crypto. But now once a week, maybe twice a week, we're getting some kind of a bank is entering crypto. Bank is doing this with crypto. This hedge fund that works with a bank is getting into crypto. These pension funds are getting into like that kind of thing, like slowly moving. Now we're getting the Santander offering crypto trading services within Brazil. There was another bank a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, who also announced that they're going to start offering crypto services to their clients. But that bank, as far as I remember, was just talking about their wealthiest clients. And then sometimes toward the end of this year, they would offer it to us normies. How nice of them. The bank will roll out this functionality to selected customers of Toro, its investment unit, this week, and it will gradually extend it to more users in the future. With this move, Santander joins, that was it, Nubank. Nubank was the other one. And Itaú Unibanco was also the other one that we had, who will also offer crypto trading services in the country as well. It sounds good. Brazil has been like I said, a hot spot for crypto. Unlike other countries who are currently making sure that they don't help the industry or their country or their people or their economy at all. A lot of other places like Brazil created, wait for it, proper crypto regulation. And they've been very friendly to these companies who I'm sure are also very friendly to them, who are also going to be paying taxes and also supporting the economy. So it just makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we've entered into the realm of like banks are like officially here. We had rumors 5 years ago that they were going to enter the space. And then we started having rumors that they were also buying, which they've clearly been buying. They've clearly been buying for a while. We don't know the numbers, but alas. And now the next part is offering like crypto to their clients. It was estimated years ago that by the end of this decade, anyone would be able to walk into a bank. And I mean, for visualization's sake, it was the idea of like your mother or your grandmother, what have you, walking into a bank and getting offered these kinds of services as opposed to just like crypto bros or people who are already in the space. Yeah, this is how you do it. You're friendly. You work with people. You make sure there's a quid pro quo. You know, money goes back and forth, and this is what you get. So cool. Santander is going to be offering crypto trading services to people in Brazil, at least selected customers. Yeah. Let's move on. In moving backwards news, Binance US has announced that they are halting their crypto and derivative services in Washington, the state, not DC, due to tightened regulatory oversight by state lawmakers. The exchange lost its operating license, forcing the company to halt services and onboarding of new Washington customers starting on the 20th of August. Yeah, so the US, forgive my French, continues to be incredibly unfriendly to the cryptocurrency industry. And I mean, in particular to Binance as well. For those of you who don't know at least part of the saga, everyone and their mother seems to be completely on board for Coinbase taking over the entirety of the cryptocurrency space within the US of A. We also saw that this was evident when like 9 of the ETF issuers announced that they were all going to be custodying exclusively with Coinbase for their Bitcoin for the ETFs. We do not hear a lot of Gemini news anymore. You know, they're talking about Bitcoin's price and Ether's price, but we're not getting a lot of listing news or the Gemini twins did this for whatever the reason might be. Same thing. I think Kraken was also pushed out of the United States, if I'm not mistaken. So all that's really left is Coinbase. This was clearly done on purpose. Someone shook the right person's hand. You know how it works. The other part is that years ago, Binance was Binance, and then Binance was kicked out of the US, and they were told that they had to create a new thing called Binance.US, basically the US arm of the company. And since then, there's still an enormous amount of hostility towards them and everything that they do. The SEC doesn't like them and yada, yada, yada. Who knows? We could talk about this all day. I feel like it's just another corruption conversation, which I'm like exhausted having at this point. But I do not believe that a multi-billion-dollar company would do everything that they can to not follow the rules just to get kicked out of somewhere. So yeah, if you are a resident of Washington State and you are using Binance US, they are basically being forced to wind down their operation and basically lightly corral you towards Coinbase, which is now your only choice within the United States. Oh, you also have Robinhood, but don't forget the entire AMC saga from a couple of years ago where, remember, they were like halting trades. So a lot of times we've seen before, allegedly, that if people make too much money on some of these apps, you know, things get halted, things get stopped, and trading doesn't happen. So how people still trust Robinhood is a complete and utter mystery to me. Yeah, that's some of the Binance news. It's just the way that things are, I suppose, you know. Can't fight corruption. Moving along. Also, in very popular news, and I will give you the portion of the news that a lot of people are not talking about. I try to be as realistic and transparent as one can be. You understand what I'm saying. So, over my years of being in the cryptocurrency space, I've mentioned many times, and you might have seen 4 or 5 videos ago where I ranted and raved about meme coins. I know for a lot of people it means absolutely nothing. Maybe I helped someone else there. I don't really. I'm not sure. Meme coins, for some reason, are being touted as like the next big investment thing, which I think is a gigantic farce, as we see many of the people who are promoting these coins are the people who created these coins, these meme coins on Solana, what have you, basically telling other people to buy them because it's the next big, amazing, great, wonderful thing. I don't disagree with, or whatever, the idea that at some point in the future, a Dogecoin could hit $1 in price, but you know, we need to also be realistic for a lot of these things, as I think 5 million Dogecoin are created per day. You know what would really get the engines revving, if we can be honest? If the people from Dogecoin or the community came together and voted for a coin burn, I think that would really set Dogecoin like kind of apart from other coins. But I completely digress. If you were burning 5 million a day, that would definitely raise the valuation quite high. This news became popular because it has to do with Dogecoin. A lot of people love Dogecoin, and they hit a milestone. The milestone is not as miley as you would expect, but I'll tell it to you this way. According from a company called Into the Block, Dogecoin has surpassed 90 million addresses. 90 million addresses for Dogecoin. Where's the significance? Well, according to numbers that we keep getting, apparently, allegedly, there are between 50 to 100 million people in the cryptocurrency space. These are the numbers that we've get. I've seen some people claim 200, 300. I've seen some claim 500 million people. But that number, no, that doesn't make, no, that's not how the word, no, that's not, no, no. Same exact thing where before we had that news story about like a month ago where somebody was claiming that 1 out of every 4 people in the United States was holding crypto. And I was like, what? Like, what are you even talking about? So the idea is 100 million is kind of where we are. Of course, we see more every day, 100,000 new addresses here for Bitcoin, et cetera, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. So 90 million is like, whoa, that would indicate that 90% of people in crypto are into Dogecoin. 90 million total addresses, which refers to all addresses ever created at any point that have held Dogecoin and those that still do. Dogecoin total addresses have risen to a current $90.34 million, as you might have imagined. The idea that Dogecoin, this coin that has, as far as I can tell from doing daily cryptocurrency news, has no real development. The team is not posting on social media as much. The coin's price only moves if Elon Musk sneezes, wears a pair of shoes that have a dog on them, or people get fake news online that Twitter's going to be. Did you see it a couple of weeks ago? People were reporting that it was imminent that Dogecoin was going to be listed as a payment method on Twitter. And then they announced that they're going to be integrating some kind of a payment solution system, and it has nothing to do with crypto. And Dogecoin's price fell that day because that's not how money works. I don't understand how people aren't getting this yet. It's kind of like a couple of years ago, which was also even more annoying. People assumed wrongfully, because this is not how regulation works. And you can say all you want. Well, he owns the company. He can do whatever he wants. That's not, no. You would be broken 4.5 seconds if that's how you dealt with a company. You have to deal with regulators. You may not like them, but you got to deal with them. If you announce that you want to integrate a payment system on your thing that's used to send lewd and weird comments to other people on the internet, you're going to have to deal with regulators. The idea, people thought that Elon Musk overnight, Elon Musk, not the people actually working for Twitter, like in the building who are actually doing the code, Elon Musk was going to himself integrate Dogecoin into the platform and not have any KYC or AML going through it. Do you understand? They thought this man was literally going to, on one of the largest social media platforms on the planet, which is simply going to integrate cryptocurrency so that you and your friends and everyone else could just swirl money around the world at will. And then I remember I had it in the video. I was like, no, they have to go through like years of regulation. Like, remember when we had news that they were like, hey, we got the paperwork for Nebraska. We can do business in Texas. And I'm like, this is how regulation, it's slow and arduous, but this is how it actually works. Total addresses differ from total addresses is with money. Yeah, which according to Into the Block refers to all addresses that actually have Dogecoin. There's a little chart right there. There may be circumstances where one person has several addresses, for example, leaving cryptocurrency in multiple addresses for security reasons, or scenarios where one address holds the fund of various users, a centralized exchange, which is reflected in the total number of address balances. So also, remember the other news that we got like 2 months ago that no one cared about as well? I think Robinhood, I'm pretty certain it's Robinhood, holds so large of a portion of Dogecoin that, there were like price manipulation fears and all that other kinds of stuff, but no one cared about that because everyone just wants their coin to pump in value. For Dogecoin, out of the 90 million addresses that there are, the total number of addresses with money in them is 6.5 million. A total of 83.84 million addresses have 0 Dogecoin inside of them. So everyone was very quick to announce that there were 900 million bajillion Dogecoin addresses, and everyone except for this one website forgot to add in the information that 83 million of them, 83.84 million, have no Dogecoin in them at all. So, yeah, even for the 6.5 million, we have no idea as to how askewed those numbers are. There could be a wallet with 1 Dogecoin, with 15 Dogecoin, and there could be other ones, usually at the top of the pyramid, that are holding like the actual big money. Dogecoin has been a bit of a conundrum as of late. I think it's being quickly outpaced by a number of meme coins, none of which I care about, but let me tell you, it is constantly in the news. I ask you to be wary when you hear or see anyone telling you or talking about getting into a meme coin, because it's going to be the next big thing and it's going to do a 14,000x and this is blah, 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 blah. That's why last point, why I always mention, it's quite interesting that we keep getting Shiba Inu news. Shiba Inu's in the news like all the time. They're all, as far as we know, I'm not part of the development team. We're hearing that they're building. They have ETFs. They have layer 2 solutions. They have their own metaverse. They have all smart contracts. They have all these different things. And Dogecoin, at least from my vantage point, looking at the news daily, doesn't have any of these things. So I'm surprised that Dogecoin is still around. And I think it's just because of Elon Musk hype. Can anyone give me like another valid reason why like people got into this coin in 2013, 2014, like as a joke, because it's meant to be a joke coin. Elon Musk picked it up as, this, meme kind of thing. And then people started liking it. But there's no other actual use. Not that I'm saying that even Shiba Inu or any other coin has a use case, but you understand what I mean. It'll be fascinating to see what happens with it. I mean, I think it would not take a lot if Elon Musk announced anything. You can buy a Tesla with this. You can now charge at Tesla charging station. Really anything. We can totally in the future see a $1 plus Dogecoin, but it doesn't seem, if the point is to get away from things that are inflationary, that continues to like raise the prices of things, making it like less accessible to people. This is where Bitcoin comes in as a deflationary currency, because under a Bitcoin standard, things become cheaper every year for everyone. You wouldn't have to spend as much money. This is also part of the appeal of Ethereum. Ethereum is inflationary, but there's also a coin burn, so it makes it deflationary. And even sometimes, oh my gosh, I can't. A lot of the news in the last couple of months, if there was ever a day where Ethereum became inflationary, like 800 something coins were created, people were trying to scare other people and be like, it's inflationary now. And I'm like, no, it's still, no. Oh wait, the coins just got burned. Oh yeah, that's how the system is supposed to work. And that's also during while prices are going down, so decreased network usage. Yeah, we are in a very weird market. I would once again suggest, and I ask that you pay attention to where you're putting your money. If you are choosing to invest in Dogecoin and put your money into Dogecoin to see where it ends up going, please research it a little bit more. Maybe I'm missing something in the news that's not quite there, or maybe, whatever. Look and see what the team is doing, what they have planned. Are there upgrades? Are there updates? Are they planning on releasing the same amount of coins forever? Do they plan on burning some coins? Will they have a huge portion of the supply completely disappear? Are they going to lock them away? What makes the investment worth it, as opposed to just believing that at some point Elon Musk is going to wear a shirt and might potentially add it on to Twitter. And for those of you who also don't know, Twitter is popular. People still use it, but not a lot of people use it anymore. I think a lot of people who are on the platform missed that like millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people left in the last couple of years. It's just not as popular anymore. And also a lot of advertisers, poof, like also completely went away as well. So I think people think that if it gets added onto Twitter, it'll become like a new renaissance kind of thing where, you know, the price can only go up higher. The only people who really use, I'm not going to say, the point is Twitter's only used for very specific things. And right, I think we'll just end it on that. Yeah, that's the Dogecoin news. Still looking to see some kind of news from them. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.